So, Aliyah Boston in Unrivaled yesterday had her first game and she looked absolutely fantastic. Like, Aaliyah looked fast, she looked sharp, she looked like there is a big difference between being in shape and being sharp. And I don't think there's ever been a stage where Aliyah Boston's been out of shape, but there has been times in Aliyah Boston's career, especially coming into that year two, where she kind of did pull a Caitlyn. She got bigger, she got stronger, and then her team needed her to play faster because she had Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, in fairness, got bigger, got stronger, and it did negatively affect her game. Like, even when Caitlin was somewhat healthy, she didn't look as fast. There was no stage where Caitlin looked as fast as she did as a rookie. And Caitlin's speed means more than being stronger, because being stronger did help her improve on the defensive end. I have no doubt about that. Caitlin was a much better defender in year two, but still, it's one of those things where it's like you can't really know what way the league is going to go. You can't really know what way your teammates are going to be. But she knows she's playing with Caitlin Clark. And Aliyah Boston not only is looking fast, she looked sharp. Like, a couple of those balls, those 50-50 balls that are just sharpness. A lot of the time, the sharper player gets more 50-50. She got all the ones on Malonga. She was reading the game well. Like, I was super impressed by how she played. So, early on in the game, boom, let me just take Malonga inside. Let me wait. Be patient. Let's run the pick and roll. Kelsey Plum's there. Malonga had no answer for her in the pick and roll. Malonga had no answer whatsoever for Aaliyah in the pick and roll. In fairness, the Paige Malonga pick and roll is tough to stop. It's tough to stop a pick and roll ever in 3x3. But she had no answer. There was no answer whatsoever for it. As you can see here again, Aaliyah's constantly sealing. And by the way, the Phantom missed Aaliyah so often on seals. She's outrunning Malonga down the floor. Like, this is not something that you would see. You would have seen a year ago. Like, players like someone like a Malonga, somebody like a Cam Brink. These were players that were considered, like athletic, mobile bigs. And Aliyah Boston was meant to be like your strong, slow it down, dump it in the post bruiser type big. And I'm gonna be completely real here. Like, Aaliyah has obviously shown that she can do that, but like, Aaliyah can also run now. Like, not, and I don't mean run, she always run, but like, Aaliyah can outrun a Cam Brink, outrun a Malonga. And I don't think that is something that people like would have thought was going to be a thing a year, 2 years ago. If you had asked me a year ago, would there ever be a stage where I would say this statement that Aliyah Boston is more of a threat in transition than Cameron Brink? I would have thought I'd be crazy. I would have said you're crazy. I still don't think she's a Malonga threat in transition, but I'm just saying she's more of a threat in transition than a Kiki Iriafen. Like, she's absolutely a major threat in transition, which is huge. Again, she's already one of the best pick and roll bigs. Like, if you're talking about like true pick and roll bigs, there's very few ones. There's very few bigs that can read the pick and roll. And even if you're talking about the true pick and roll bigs from the standpoint of players all over the world, like, who is a true pick and roll big? Like Emma Messaman, but Aliyah Boston's just so much quicker than her right now. Awafam. Aliyah Boston's better at every other aspect of basketball than Awafam. Albeit Awafam, if you watch Awafam play, I'm not joking when I say this, her actual like ability to process the pick and roll is exceptional. Like, there are levels to it. There are levels to it. And in fairness to Awafam, she's exceptional at it. She's absolutely exceptional at it. But you've then got nobody else. She's a better pick and roll big than Jonquel. She's a better pick and roll big she's a better P and roll big than Aja. As a pure pick and roll big, I think Aja Wilson does a lot of other stuff. But in terms of just the way that she can read that pick and roll, I don't think like she is better at that aspect of basketball than Aja. But yeah, it's mad. It's mad looking at this player who I felt like coming into her second season was limited to being a back-to-the-basket bruiser like she was at South Carolina. And the secondary trait of her game that was exceptional was her playmaking, but it was her back-to-the-basket playmaking. Turned into one of the best rollers. And by the way, let's be completely honest here. Watch the first 5 or 6 games of Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Aliyah Boston was not a great roller. She was rolling to no man's land. You have now got a player who has, in the last 18 months, turned from a back-to-the-basket bruising big whose main, like, secondary trait is, again, the main secondary thing that she did was her back-to-the-basket playmaking. And I'll say this, it looked to us at a stage, maybe during her second season, that she kind of lost the back-to-the-basket game. She'd gained a whole bunch of other stuff, but it did seem like she had lost a little bit of what had made her before that. But now it's all coming back. Now the back-to-the-basket game is there. The pick-and-roll game is there. The transition game is there. Like, Aliyah Boston, it's always this funny thing when people are like, Caitlin Clark fans want the rest of the team to fail. It's like, I mean this when I say this. If Caitlin's not winning an MVP, I want it to be Aliyah. And if it turns out that Caitlin has an unbelievable season and Aliyah is just the best player in the league and Aliyah Boston goes and wins an MVP, I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. Because I think there's a world that Aliyah Boston wins MVP next year. Like, if you're asking me who my MVP favorites are, I need to see who the Dallas Wings get. Because if Paige Bueckers is a top 5 MVP candidate, she's winning MVP. Like, did you not hear Candace Parker last night? Paige Bueckers had a decent defensive game. She got burned quite a lot by Tip Hayes, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, she had an okay defensive game. She foul baited, shot sub 50%, and Candace Parker gave her a 9 out of 10. And by the way, it was Paige Bueckers had, I would say, a 9.5 out of 10 first half and a 7 out of 10 second half. A 7 out of 10 second half. And apparently Candace Parker's a hater for not giving her a 10 out of 10. Like, if Paige Bueckers is even remotely in the conversation for something and you don't choose Paige Bueckers, you are going to get attacked. You are going to get attacked. These Paige Bueckers fans are berserk. They're genuinely berserk. Like, and by the way, you know what? Like, fair play to them. Fair play to them, because you better believe these people aren't watching basketball. These people have never watched a single game of basketball outside of Paige Bueckers. Like, you better believe these guys know nothing about basketball. Either way, though, I got to give credit where credit's due. They do most of the time, unlike the South Carolina Angel Reese stands, they do talk about basketball most of the time, even though they're fucking nut jobs. The lot of them. But at the same time, most fanatics are nut jobs. You could never convince me that Gabriel Goodmanson is not the best left back in the Premier League. So, I mean, you can never convince a UConn fan that Paige Bueckers isn't the best player in the world, even over other UConn players. But no, if realistically, if Paige Bueckers is even in the conversation for MVP, she's going to win it. So Aliyah Boston, Paige can't be in that conversation for Aliyah to win or Caitlin to win, because even if realistically Paige is the 5th best player in the WNBA next year, let's just say Indiana end up as the 1 seed. Aja has another Aja season. Fee has another Fee season. And the top 4 players in the league are Caitlin, Aliyah, Aja, Fee. And Paige is deservedly the 5th best player. Paige is going to win the MVP. So it's going to be very tough for her to win an MVP. But that being said, Aliyah Boston, absolutely exceptional. Like, she is... I consider Aja Wilson more of like a... I don't even know what position you can say with Aja Wilson, because a lot of her best attributes are almost her guard skills. Her guard skills are kind of what separates her. It's her size, it's her speed, it's a little bit of everything. But it's like, as a fundamental basketball player, Aliyah is fundamentally better than Aja. I'm not saying Aliyah is better than Aja, because she's not. She's not as athletic. She's not as good a shot blocker. She's not as good a weak side defender. She's not as fast laterally. That being said, though, I think there's a world where Aliyah is... Not even think there's a world. If you don't consider Aliyah or Aja to be a center, the best center in the W is Aliyah Boston. And I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I don't think it's long until it's a no question about it. Aliyah Boston is the best center in the WNBA. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.